So, fun fact about little old me, boys and girls. I grew up a pretty big fan of Westerns. Played a lot of cowboys and Indians as a kid, and was no stranger to classics like Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Rifleman, and John Wayne or Clint Eastwood movies. And I know I've told this story before on the channel, but Red Dead Revolver was actually the very first rated M game that I was ever allowed to play in my house. This was back in the days when you could still rent and or buy video games and movies from your local grocery store. My grandpa was there one day just kind of rummaging around. He stumbled upon it and he thought it was cool, so naturally he thought that I would think it was awesome. And of course, I did. I thought hell had frozen over. I remembered seeing this game from the commercials on TV and was just super chuffed to actually have it physically in my hands. The only problem was that it was rated M, and I told my grandpa that. I said, as awesome as this is, I'm not really supposed to have it. And he replied, basically, if you don't go around copying what you see in the game, don't go around shooting people, and more importantly, if you don't tell your grandma, we can keep it our little secret, and the rest is history. So I might be a little bit biased when it comes to this one because obviously I have such a special connection to it. But right off the jump, is it as good as the Redemption games? No. But I think every great series can have its humble beginnings, and it's kind of a beast all of its own anyway. Rather than being a intensely character-driven narrative in a likewise super immersive world, we get something a little bit simpler, a linear mission-based experience. But it's got so much style and personality running through it. Right down to its presentational elements. The film grain that they put over the top of this thing, the music that they use, all of the references it has, all coming together to pay homage to the Western and spaghetti Western genre and all the history therein. It's characters, whether hero or villain, again, have so much personality and life in them that make them all stand out in my book. This game has so many one-liners and catchphrases that just swim around rent-free in the back of my head to this day. And I mean, come on, I'm never going to forget the badass quartet of Red Harlow, Jack Swift, Annie Stokes, and the Buffalo Soldier as long as I live. It's just never gonna happen. Story-wise, I really enjoy Red's quest to avenge the death of his parents and how his journey through bounty hunting naturally brings him closer and closer to those responsible. How the aforementioned characters that you meet along the way in passing become intertwined in all of that, and how everything kind of circles back around to the battle royale at the end of the game and the aftermath or fallout from that. I just think everything that's there is super solid. Gameplay wise, I've seen a lot of people out there in internet land complain about how janky the game is, how difficult it is, how it just hasn't aged well, if it was ever really that great of a game to begin with. Is it janky? Yeah, sure, in spots, but we have to remember that we are talking about an over 20-year-old game now, so some of that's to be expected. And you know what? I might be a little bit biased when it comes to the control scheme of this thing as well, from all of the years playing it so frequently. It just felt really natural and smooth to pick up and play again. Um, Very easy to get into. It just kind of all came flooding back to me like muscle memory or something. But I will agree that there definitely does seem to be a pretty steep difficulty curve around the halfway point of the game. The second half of the game is where it feels the most like it's done having fun with you, done playing around, and starts putting its boots to your ass, so to speak. Start stomping a mud hole and walking it dry, as they say. That is definitely the point where I would say you either have to get good, get lucky, or learn uh, how and where to cheese the game. But I would say that it takes uh, a little bit of patience and determination on your part to get through it, which can be said about any game, really, new or old. That's just kind of how it works. Um, but if you want me to criticize something, if you want me to paint something in a never so slightly negative light, I would say that some additional information as to uh, the directions with what you're supposed to do in a given situation would be nice. Now, I'm not talking about straight up hand holding all the way through. I'm just talking about, more of a flow of information and communicating to the player. For example, boss fights. Every boss has a weak point somewhere on their body that you shoot. It stuns them and opens them up to damage. Pretty classic stuff. Some of them are very easy to figure out, self explanatory, others not so much. The one experience that I had where this was the largest case was the Bad Bessie fight. Um, I shot that woman from head to toe, threw everything I had at her, and just wasn't doing damage. I couldn't find her stun spot to save my life. And then just kind of randomly, I can neither confirm or deny this for sure, but I think I ended up catching her in the hand that holds her whip, and that triggered it. And then I ended up shooting her in the torso area, point blank, and it was pretty much an insta kill. Her health bar was just gone. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying that, if you asked me how I did it or exactly what I did under penalty of death, I'm not sure I could tell you. All in all, you know, I've just got so many good memories over the years, both by myself and with friends when it comes to this one, that if you want a review of somebody sitting down and just tearing it apart and shitting on it for being an older game, I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to be your guy. And I just take so much pride uh, in the fact that for the first time ever, I was able to play it all the way through and beat it in order to make this video. And it's always going to be one of my favorite games of all time. But that is going to wrap this video up, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one.